Is Jada a narcissist? And is that what made Will slap Chris? I'm going to address that in this video. Hey there, I'm Rebecca Zung, and I'm a narcissist negotiation expert. I'm also an attorney, and I have been asked a lot this question over the last few days. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and address this now. I did a video on my thoughts on Will Smith and that whole slap that was heard around the world a couple of days ago on what I thought the real reason was that Will slapped Chris a couple of days ago. And I wanted to just do a follow-up on this because I've been even getting like text messages and voicemails from people on whether or not I think Jada Smith is a narcissist. So I thought I would just do a follow-up video on this. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that now. So I want to reiterate that I do think that Will Smith's behavior was totally reprehensible the other night, but I do like Will Smith. I've always liked Will Smith a lot. I love his stance on the law of attraction. You know, I do believe that he's brilliant in a lot of ways. I think he's super likable. I read his book. I've followed him for a lot of years. I feel like I grew up with him in a lot of ways, but obviously I don't excuse his behavior. I don't think it was good in any way. I do believe that he was very sorry for his behavior. I do believe that his apology was very, very sincere. And I want to reiterate what I said in my video the other day about what I think the real reason was for why he did what he did. You know, if you read his book, I do believe that he was triggered because he grew up with a father who was a good father in a lot of ways. I mean, African-American community, a lot of times there weren't fathers around, but his father was around and very, very present for him. But his father used to beat up his mother sometimes, and he felt fearful, very fearful like that, and that he didn't protect his mother. And that was a big trigger for him. And he talked about how there were three of them that were close in age, and that his brother was fight and his sister was flight and he was freeze. And he felt like he never protected his mother. And he talked about how he felt like he let down all the women in his life except his daughter, and that only now recently as he started to come to terms with that, and that it was only since his father died a couple of years ago that he's finally starting to come to terms with that. He talked about in the book how he's done all sorts of therapies and all sorts of even sort of different types of therapies. And so this is a really, really big deal for him, which Jada obviously knows about clearly. And so when this happened at the Oscars, which obviously Jada very much knows that this was supposed to be his big night. This was his night. I mean, obviously he's sitting right up front, right there for a reason. And the reason was because he's nominated in the Best Actor category, and he's heavily favored to win. I mean, he's nominated for King Richard, and he's heavily favored to win in that category. You know, his whole entire life, his whole entire career is leading up to this night. This night. This is supposed to be his night. And so clearly there's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of eyes on him. She knows that. And so when this joke happens, I don't even know, honestly, if Chris Rock even knew that she had this condition. I don't know if the joke was just about the fact that she had a bald head or if he knew that she had that condition, but he actually was laughing. You saw that he was laughing. And until she gave him the look, and it was that look that triggered him. It was that look of, are you going to do something about that look? And it was that that triggered him to, you better do something about that. And that was what triggered him to, oh, I have to do something about that. That was what caused him to, I have to get up. I have to do something. I have to protect. And, in fairness, did she really need to do that to him at that moment, knowing that this was his big night, knowing that that would trigger him, knowing that he's got these issues? I mean, seriously, yeah, I get that this is an issue for her. Yeah, I get that that is something that maybe is hurtful to her and something that she's sensitive about. I'm not saying that that's, something that she shouldn't be sensitive about. But honestly, it is the Oscars. She is a public persona. She is a celebrity. It is something that you're supposed to sit there and take. That is Chris Rock's job, is to sit there and make jokes about people in the audience. That's supposed to be what he's supposed to be doing. And so honestly, for her to kind of look at Will like, hey, aren't you supposed to do something about this, was maybe not something that she should have done. I don't know, but maybe she didn't expect him to do what he did. I'm not really sure, but I do know that he was definitely triggered by that. And in fairness, why didn't she go, hey, don't get up? Hey, Will, sit back down. Why didn't she stop him? Why didn't she say, no, don't do anything. No, get back here, or anything like that? I don't know. I'm kind of wondering about that myself, like, why didn't she do anything to take the focus away from that, knowing that it could be an issue? And then since I did my last video, by the way, I saw an article in Us Weekly, and I saw video footage that appears to be footage of her laughing after he slapped Chris. And it definitely appears to be her laughing. And it's very, very disturbing. That definitely seems fishy too. And, we do know that narcissists, especially when it's your big night or it's your big occasion, want to take the focus away from you. And this was clearly his big night. And we do know, looking at the history of their relationship, she didn't want to be married in the first place, and he wanted to be married, and he puts these women on pedestals, and he's always done that. We do know that she has a history of infidelity in the relationship, and he's looked the other way with that. I did find it disturbing in the book the way that for 3 years or something like that was planning her 40th birthday party, and she didn't like it. She was very upset by it, made it seem like it was all about him and his ego, really didn't appreciate it at all. And that bothered me a lot. I don't know if she's a narcissist or not. It certainly seems to me, at least from my perspective, and without being within the relationship, that there seems to be fishy things going on here. And, I'm going to say that if she is a narcissist and this is a toxic relationship, I hope that they're both getting counseling. I did read that he is seeking intense counseling now for his emotional trauma that he endured as a child that obviously is still unresolved since the Oscar slap that was heard around the world, which is great. I saw that, she posted something on her Instagram that this is a season for healing, and I'm here for it. I do find it fishy that that's all she has said since the Oscars, that she hasn't come out and said anything more other than that. I find that fishy too, frankly. Here he went to all these great lengths to quote unquote protect her for all of this. He's basically kind of torpedoed his entire career. That whole slap thing was so out of character for him, all because she gave him that look like, aren't you going to do something for me? Which, again, is kind of something that it was sort of like this fear, like, what are you going to do for me, sort of a thing, kind of an indication of not a good situation there. So I don't know, but if it is a toxic relationship, if it is a narcissistic kind of a hold that she has on him, I do hope that they're both seeking counseling. I do hope that she's seeking counseling, he's seeking counseling. I do hope that both of them are getting the season for healing. I hope it is what they're both representing it is to be, because obviously I send them both love and prayers. I don't want anybody to be in a toxic relationship. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here. That's my mission. So for all of you out there who are in difficult situations, I do have my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet to get you started, which you can get at winmynegotiation.com. And make sure you subscribe to this channel for more information, for more free content. And as always, remember, today's a great day to start negotiating your best life. I would love to know what your thoughts are on the whole Will and Jada thing. Do you think she's a narcissist? And I will see all of you in my next video. Thanks so much for listening.